Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite colored pencil methods and one extra one. Now the first one I want to tell you about is called stippling. In theory, stippling is super easy. It's just making dots. In colored pencil, it's probably better to make the dots heavier versus lighter. So that makes it a little harder. So you have to focus a little bit rather than just like with a marker. You just go dot and it's done. The next one is burnishing. Burnishing is doing many layers of colored pencil. It can also be done in paint, but we're going to focus on this for now. It can be one color and it can be many colors, but what happens is the results are very shiny, very opaque, and a very thick layer of colored pencil that basically covers everything. Now, I'm not doing this very neatly or beautifully, but I'm leaving one side with just one coat of colored pencil, or one layer. And then on the left-hand side, you can see me going over and over and over. And sorry about my finger, but I cut myself with a knife, and I have to keep a Band-Aid on it. So you just keep going over and over the same area. I'm going to use the same color here until you flatten the tooth of the paper and pretty much remove any semblance that there was even paper there. You have almost a glossy sheen over the top. You either cover it with wax pencils or oil pencils, but the result is the same, a very deep, rich finish. And you really can't go over it with anything else unless you break it up somehow with turpenoid or Gamsol. The next method is hatching, and it's basically going in and making lines in one direction to form a shadow. You can go in several directions, and that's basically contouring, but if you go over the top in the other direction, that's called cross-hatching, and that's another method. The more you go over the previous layers, the darker and the more shadowed the area looks. If you'll notice on money, there's a lot of cross-hatching and regular hatching. I'll show you. The next method is scumbling, and it's basically controlled scribbling. You don't want the scribbles to be too big or too small, and it's good for certain textures. The next one is the one we're all familiar with, and that's blending. You basically put a layer down, and then you either blend it with another pencil or a blending stick or Gamsol, and get that look that we're all familiar with in coloring. The other day, when I was thinking about doing this video, I realized when I color with colored pencils, I use a method that kind of contains all of the things that I just mentioned. So that's why I kind of wanted to break it down and show you each one and how to do each one. So if you want to incorporate it into a picture, it would be perfect. So I decided that I was going to use this picture from my newest coloring book called The BUNS. And what I was going to do was take this first carrot and try to incorporate all of those methods. And it didn't quite work. It got to be a little overwhelming, so I started over. So even though I have a first layer down, I decided it was okay, and I would show how to burnish on this carrot. So I went right back in. I took a polychromos pencil. Ooh, let me find out what color that is for you. Okay, that color is orange glaze. And for all of the carrots, I used orange glaze, cadmium orange, caput mortuum for the darker, more shadowy areas, cadmium red, chrome yellow, and dark cadmium yellow. Now by the noise that I'm making here, you can tell that I'm doing stippling. I also found out that it's not that easy to color a large area with colored pencils in stippling. I also found myself about halfway through wanting to just start to color with the pencil in like the regular way. But I decided I would finish this, and it does give a certain look. And then I went a little bit darker here with the light cadmium red. I don't know if I would have the patience to do an entire image with colored pencils in stippling, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. Now this next carrot is hatching. Some of the lines are bent, but I thought that was okay because I just wanted to show the technique. I made the area toward the back of the carrot a little bit darker, and I made the areas around the side a little bit darker to give the indication that the carrot had a round shape to it. I kept the center a little bit lighter also to indicate the roundish shape. Now here's the Scumbling. This was kind of fun. I never really did this in a coloring book or for one of my coloring pictures. I think that this technique would be better for dirt or for a rug or even certain types of hair. But it's nice to have them all on the same page and to see what the results are compared to the other results. I even scumbled in the shadowy areas. Now with this carrot, I'm doing cross hatching. I started with the lightest shade, and once again I'm keeping the darkest toward the back because that's where it would be shadowy, and also around the sides. Dark to keep that cylindrical shape, and I will leave the middle part lighter. Although I will do some shading and cross hatching across the very front just to give the impression that there's indentations, and it adds interest. It just doesn't look like a cylinder. I also tried to do these little buns. I tried to make one in hatching, one in cross hatching, one in burnishing. They were just too tiny, and the ones that I ended up coloring were just blended. I really liked the way the cross hatching carrot came out. I thought it was interesting, I thought it was stylized, and there was enough coverage and color that you could actually use it for a coloring picture. Now, here we are, and I'm on the last one, and this is the blending technique. And what I did here was go over the whole area of the carrot with the lightest color first. And it actually felt really good to just color the area. So I found that to be the most enjoyable. And then after I finished coloring that whole solid area, I realized that I was going to start hatching. And on this carrot, what that meant was to basically go over the areas that were already indicated in the coloring book to make the carrot look cylindrical. So I blended in a little bit with the hatching on the edges. Now I took Caput Mortuum and went around the center part of the carrot where it was dark. And I also did a little bit of hatching over the orange color that I had already put down. So actually this was a really interesting process and discovery for me, because I realized that we do use all of these techniques. And if you're unfamiliar with them, you can have them in your head now that, oh, maybe I can use burnishing around the center to make that area look shiny and dark. Or maybe I can use the stippling for a more light or delicate area in another area of your image. Now I used dark cadmium yellow, and I burnished certain areas to make it look very intense and rich. And then I started to go over and blend other parts of the area of the carrot too. Now you can see that there's almost a whirl effect around the carrot because it is circular. I added a little bit of green here. Let me see which green I used so I can tell you. Leaf green. So I did some hatching, cross hatching, a little bit of stippling around the top to make it look realistic and almost like there's a little bit of dirt there. And I did some burnishing with the yellow to make the carrot look shiny and healthy. So here they all are next to one another, and this was really fun and interesting. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you follow me here on YouTube. I hope you subscribe below, and I hope you hit the little bell so you won't miss a thing. I hope you check out my new book, The Buns, on Amazon and in my Etsy store called Art by Dia. Thanks for joining me. See you soon. Bye.